Hey Jordan, thanks for your question. So I'm looking at, I've got an example here. I'll show you here, but in a minute. I got uh, your work that you turned in for part one. Everything has been marked correct. So you already got full credit for part one. So I was not sure if what you're emailing about is part one or part two, because part one you got full credit and part two not. So I'll cover both things. So you at first said that your radius was 3.8. So I resized my circle here so that I can measure a radius of 3.8. Wherever I measure the radius, as long as I've got the zero part of my ruler centered at the middle of the circle, it's always going to be 3.8. I can measure 3.8 up here. I can measure 3.8 going straight across. That's the way circles are, right? So radius 3.8 ruler units. Okay, so then on the data table, let's look at the horizontal measurement. The horizontal measurement I have marked in blue. So we're going to start at 0 degrees. To get to 0 degrees, there is, there is no y component because you just go straight across to get to the edge of the circle at where 0 degrees is. So that is going to be the same measurement you got for the radius, which should be 3.8. And the vertical measurement will be 0 because you don't have to go up at all. And then let's just do one more. Let's say 30 degrees would be the next one. Your circle has all this stuff pre-drawn on there, and mine does not. But so here's 30 degrees right here. So the triangle would look like, there's the missing part of my triangle. All of your colors are the same, so you can see which, on the circle you've got x component, y component, and the resultant or the hypotenuse are all the same colors. So I got different colors just for illustration. Anyway, so I'm going to measure just the part that shows up in blue. That's my x component, and that looks like 3.3 for my horizontal measurement at 30 degrees. And then I'm going to have to turn my ruler so I can get the vertical component. So I want to measure just the green part. It looks like 1.9. Okay, and then so it'd keep going all the way around the circle. Awesome, end of part one. So I think some of your measurements probably are not so accurate, but they're within the acceptable range, and so that you did get full credit for everything in part one. Nice. Okay, so for part two, Unit Circle Discovery project, part two is ratios. And so I saw that you had entered the first answer in there, and you entered the radius and then the first answer into the table, and it marked that wrong. So I assume that's what you're talking about in your email that says you can't, no matter what you put in there, it marks it wrong. So that would be in the data table I've got here in the printed version. We're looking at that calculation. It's the horizontal measurement divided by the radius. And so my horizontal measurement at 0 degrees was 3.8. Radius was 3.8 also. And so if I divide 3.8 divided by 3.8, I'm going to get a ratio of 1. If I just keep going down that same column, if I take the 3.3, that was the next measurement, divided by the radius, that'll be 3.3 divided by 3.8. 3.3 divided by 3.8. It's going to be, well, it's going to round to 2 decimal places. So 0.87, yeah, 0.87, right? Okay, then the next column that you will have to answer in that same assignment in part two is the vertical measurement divided by the radius. And so that'll be, I'll do this one in green. My colors don't all match. I don't know why I did this in red. It should be blue. I labeled it in blue on the graph. I guess we just change it to blue so that it matches. Why not? Okay, so green, that's where I measured the y. I guess really the measurement should be in green, and the radius, or the ratio with the radius is whatever. Okay, I'm not changing more colors. So we're going to take the vertical measurement, which was 0 for 0 degrees, a measurement of 0 units, divide that, 0 divided by 3.8, which is going to be 0. And the next one would be 1.9. I'm going to divide that by 3.8. 9 divided by 3.8, 0.5. So I'm rounding to, there aren't any more decimal places to worry about rounding. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Keep going. I don't have any more measurements off of your circle, so I don't know what the rest of them are going to be, but that is the way you should proceed. All right, I hope that helps. If not, feel free to keep emailing.